Okay, so next we're going to go ahead and try to set this machine up to do some threading here, okay? And the first thing that we're going to do is check out our gear set over here. We have our head over here. Remember, we're always in the F one. The easy one to remember is the first one you come to top to bottom. It's the F gear set. Why is that important? Because when we roll over to here, we have an F and then we have a G gear set. Now, also, we're taking a look over here at this. This is feed per revolution. This right here is your actual threading. So in this case, we're doing half 20. So we're going to go to the F gear and we're going to roll down and see if we can find 20. We found 20. It's C3SY. Pretty simple, right? C right here. Let's make sure that we're on C. And then we're going to go to 3. And then S. Didn't want to go in there. And then we're going to go Y. Now, what it may take for this is actually rotating the spindle to get that to lock in. And you may have to do a little bit more than that in order for it to happen. You may have to turn it on. Okay. Yep, so basically sometimes you have to turn it on. I didn't have C in, and then C didn't allow the gearbox to rotate when I was turning the head, therefore I couldn't get S to engage. But I did do that. And now before I go too much farther, I want to make sure that I'm adjusting the head up here. So in the instructions, the setup right here, it says that we're going to be running at 58 RPM. You're going to be running at 58 RPM. I'm going to set mine over here to 125. And the reason I'm going to do that is because I have a little bit more experience and I want to make sure that it's moving a little bit faster for the sake of this video. I don't want to waste any of your time. So again, I'm on 125. You're going to be running at 58. That's okay. But the main thing is that you have F gear right here, C3SY, C3SY. All right, now that we have that set up, we're going to come over here and I'm going to turn on the spindle now. And you're going to see this dial actually moves. That tells me, okay, that my gears are actually set up correctly. And how I know is because there's another shaft under here rotating that's actually making that turn. So now that I have this, I can also take a look at the chart on top here. Notice I have 20. 20 is 20 threads per inch. And I have 1-8. That means that I can start on any whole number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or 8. It's a good idea to always check this chart so that you know where you can start on this. And it's very important because if you get started off, then your tool is going to cut where you don't want it to cut, and that's going to be bad. Now, over here, remember we have this feed knob. We're not touching that, okay? The feed knob is going to go really slow, and it's going to machine our threads off, whereas the lead screw, okay, is what's going to give us what we need in regards to making this thing move. So let me back up so I don't destroy anything. We're going to wait for a whole number and hold up on this, and then as you can see, this is rolling along, and here's what our tool looks like rolling along, and then we're going to go ahead and back that out. So now that we have that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to park you guys for a second. We're going to go ahead and turn this off so we can have a safe time. We're going to pull this tool out of here, get it back on the shelf, and we're going to go ahead and grab our threading tool here, and we're going to drop this in. Oh, I would have done myself well to give me a little bit of room here. We're going to back this up. We don't want to slam any of these tool tips because they are kind of fragile if you don't treat them the way they're designed to be treated. We're going to come on over here. We're going to roll this up. We're going to make sure that we're flush in this range and then that this is actually set to 0. So we're going to crank this around. Some of these may be stiff, so you may have to hold on to this while you're cranking that. But make sure this is moving in a positive direction to get the lash out of the screw. And then put this at 0, making sure that that's zeroed there. Then what we're going to do is come over here to this part, and we're going to make sure we have some room here. And we do, left to right. We don't want to start on our part, okay? And then what we're going to have to do is we're going to actually have to zero our x-axis. All right, we're going to zero it here, and we're actually going to zero it up here. And how we do that is, let's check this out. We're going to roll over here. We're going to get onto our part beyond the chamfer. We're going to turn on the lathe. And then we're going to very, very carefully roll in very, very slowly with the X. And I'm going to watch intently. All right, you see that wisp of material come off of there? And you can actually see that little bit of line. Maybe the light isn't right for you guys. But once I touch that, I'm going to stop there. I'm not going to back out. I'm just going to roll over. Yeah, I left a little mark in here, but it's really superficial. You'll never really be able to see that, okay? But now that I'm here, I can go ahead and turn my lathe off because I've touched that tool off on 0. Then what I'm going to do is come up here to my X. I'm going to select that. I'm going to 0, enter, and now my X is 0. This must always stay 0. Also down here, it's a good idea if you're holding on to this, you can actually manipulate this ring right here very carefully and get it around. I'm a big fan of this. I like to use this more so than the DRO and line that up to 0. So I have 0, 0, and 0, okay? My RPM is set, all my gear set is set, and I know what I'm doing over here with this dial, okay? And now I'm going to be able to go ahead and do the threading portion.